Okay, there we are. Well, hey, we are now live on Facebook and getting ready to bring in our. What is wrong with this thing? Will I ever start something where I'm not bumbling to myself about getting us organized? But now we are live on Facebook and Instagram. I am so excited to be here with two amazing authors of children and middle grade book ladies. We have Mary Minjares. Raise your hand and wave hi, Mary, to everybody. And
Hello.
Jeanie Chambers. And
Hello.
as people are coming in, and some of us were like, well, I'm going to be busy doing this or that. But the nice thing, of course, with this is it does stay up on Facebook after we're done, and will be on my YouTube channel also. I think I clicked that too. And so you'll be able to watch it after the fact if you're missing out on the live stream. But I do want to point out to people that the advantage of joining us live is when you're commenting and so forth, that's how we pick our winners for giveaways. And we have a lot of giveaways today. So cool. Nancy has already joined us from Wisconsin. Hi, Nancy. Nancy, I love all of my regulars who are so well trained that they remember to tell us where they are coming from, because it's nice for the guests to know that, who's coming from where. And so I'll remind you as we're going along, as you ring in, be sure and tell us where you're coming from. And I can't always tell on both of these. If you happen to be joining us from Insta, say hi, I'm on Insta tonight. So that's going to be fun. So these guys are just an interesting pair. I'm going to tell you. Well, actually, I'm going to tap dance stall a little bit while everybody's coming in. Kathy has come in from Idaho, so glad you could make it. I was just saying the advantage of coming to these live events is that that's where we pick our winners, is from our comments on the lives. And we have got some fun merch for you guys today, so you're going to love it. But I'm going to go ahead and let's finish the tap dance. I'll just greet y'all as you come in. But I thought you guys would be interested to know where I know these ladies from, how I met them. And no, I think we're good. Gerhard, by the way, for those of you who know Gerhard, he is always helping in the background and doing things, and he's off the hook tonight because.
But before Gerhard leaves,
Yeah. Oh, Gerhard.
I'm giving a little plug here.
Oh, you can't see. She's holding up Safe Harbor. Thank you, Jeanie. That's so sweet.
Awesome. Wasn't that,
your head
have
over
you
and
read
say
it?
hi to everybody. I'm gonna have
I haven't read it yet because I bought it for my
say
husband,
hi.
and I.
There he
I
is. Wait and say hi.
Hey, Gerhard.
Here.
There you go.
Good to see you.
All right,
Good to see
yay.
you.
Thanks for that.
Jeanie,
plug.
Jeanie, you're going to love it. You're going to love
Oh,
it.
so fun. We've got Susan has joined us now from North Carolina, Jeannie's land, and Debbie's coming in from Greenville. Thank you so much. Hi, Tanya. And California is now represented, Illinois. Hi, Debbie. Thanks, everybody, for coming. I'm going to start over again with my intro. We've got Jeanie Chambers. Jeanie, raise your little hand and your cute little fingers and wave, our little girl with the accent. And Mary is a Pacific Northwest girl like me, and there she is down below in the orange. And I wanted to tell you all how I met these ladies. So we will start with Mary. So Mary, when I was back when the pterodactyls flew and you had to do everything on paper and, didn't just email things to your editor, you always had to photocopy things. And Mary, once upon a time, while she was deciding what kind of writer she wanted to be, worked at Office Depot.
Office Depot.
Office Depot. And Mary, and we just got talking one day, didn't we? I think. And it came out that Mary's like, well, I would like to be a writer, right?
Actually, it's before that, I went to a book signing because I thought I need to see some real live writers. So I went to a book signing here, and it was you and Kristen Hanna and Kimberly Fisk.
Wow, you remember? I'm impressed.
Do you remember that? Yeah, yeah. And I was scared even going to that. Anyway, but I knew what you looked like then, and I picked. I wanted some close local writers. Anyway, so then a week or so later, I was at work at Office Depot in the copy center, and you got stalked through Office Depot. I was stalking you.
Oh, that's hilarious.
Yeah, I was stalking, and I'm like, is that really her? Is that her? Is that her? So finally I positioned myself at the exit like a greeter. And as you at that day, you did not go to the copy center. So I stood there and telling people, goodbye, have a nice day. Thank you for shopping here. That's not my position whatsoever. And then here you came to leave. And I said, thank you for shopping here today. And you said, oh, thank you very much. And I said, excuse me, I don't mean to be intrusive, but are you Sheila Roberts, the writer? I was so scared. And you're like, well, yes, I am. And anyway, so then the next time you came in, we kind of knew each other.
So Mary was my one adoring fan back then.
Oh yeah, I stalked you all over Office Depot that day.
That was really funny. And so then we just sort of kind of got to know each other. And Mary is actually one of my Sheila girls on my street team. So we have known each other for quite a while now. And so I'm very excited for what she's been doing. And we're, of course, going to be talking about that in a little bit. A quick hi to Becky, who has joined us and is apologizing because she just got unpacked. But you're coming in from Mansfield, Texas. And Debbie has coming in from Zephyr Hills, Florida. Now that I've heard of, I just love that name, Zephyr Hills. So thanks you guys for joining us. Hi to Debbie Dunn, who's representing California tonight. So we're slowly getting some representations from the different states around the country. But anyway, so that's how I met Mary. And Jeanie, we met actually here through Facebook, I believe, didn't we?
Mm-hmm. I thought it was MySpace, but you said you were never on MySpace, but it was early on in Facebook.
Yeah. Early on in Facebook, and Jeanie we would just, I don't know, I think you just sort of found each other, and she would comment, and then I found her, and lo and behold, I was watching, and you have worn several hats because you started in real estate. But now look at her. She's got her whole stack of books. Oh, those are mine. I thought those were yours. Jeanie,
those are the Christmas ones. No, those are the regular ones. These are the other ones.
Oh my Lord! Oh,
those are Christmas ones. I was on a list. I remember one time going into, I think it was Barnes and Noble when I was at the beach one year, and I was looking for one of your books and I couldn't find any, and I got so mad, and I went and asked them. I said, "Where are the?" And I think they said they could order them. I said, well, I don't live here, but I wanted to see all your books.
What's wrong with you people?
That was about the year of bikini season, I think. I don't know what year that was, but
that was way early on. Yeah,
that's the first one I read.
Oh my gosh, that's amazing! Wow, you guys. Well, that's pretty cool. So obviously, these two have been really wonderful supportive readers for a long time. So I'm happy I can finally do a little bit of payback for them. And Ellen has joined us from Ohio. Thanks for coming in. We appreciate it. As I said earlier, for those of you who end up watching this after the fact, you'll hear some repeating, but I like to repeat a few things because people kind of straggle in. And those of you who are live are the ones who always have a chance to win when we're doing giveaways, because that's where we pick our winners, just from the comments on the lives when you've joined us. And so you're going to have 4 chances to win something now. And oh, hey, there's Kelly, another one of my our street team gang here in the Pacific Northwest. And thank you, they appreciate that. I did put out a call, Mary, just so you know, to the Sheila girls, saying, hey, Mary's going to be on, come and be supportive, offer her support. So
hi, Kelly.
Yes, and Nicole's coming from Arizona. Hi to Lisa Thompson Bland from South Carolina. Yay, you guys, we're all over the country. Don't you love this about social media? And how many, as we're talking, would you say have actually made friends through doing this, through social media? Oh, yeah. I have become, and so many of these names I see all the time, I just feel like I know you all, like, even though we don't all live in the same neighborhood, we're all in the same online neighborhood, and we can hang out, and it's so much fun to be able to do that. Anyway, so yeah, I'm happy to see some people who've come on to support our authors here. So let's jump in. And okay, I talked about how I met Mary. We've talked about how Jeanie and I met, which was online here. But now I want to know a little bit about you girls. Why did you end up picking to write what you write? And you both write just slightly different and different age groups. And Jeanie, let's start with you. What made you say, okay, you know what, this is what I want to write? Why did you decide that you wanted to write for, what did we say the age group is? 8-year-olds to?
About 8, I say 8 to 108, but about 8 to about 15 or 16 is usually the.
Okay, so kind of the tweenies and young teen age.
Yeah. Adolescents. And, you know, I've wanted to write for a long, long time. My dad had a huge imagination, used to tell me stories all the time. And my mom used to love to read. So I thought I always wanted to write, especially since junior high school. I think I credit 2 books. One of them was called Candy Striper, which is just an odd book, and another one, which led me to be a candy striper at the hospital.
I read, yeah.
And then there was another book, The Outsiders by S.E. Hinton, you know, and so I said, I think I want to write books. So the children's books and adolescent age is what I really wanted to write for some reason. I felt they were just the more vulnerable, and they needed to be able to, you know, have fun things to do. So I started in the early 80s and took a course from the Institute of Children's Literature. and
Oh
it was,
my gosh.
did you
Wow. Really?
remember that one? Yeah.
I
So it was
do.
writing for children and teenagers. So I took that in the 80s because I had my children were born in 80 and 82. So that's when I decided I really did want to write for children. And then life happened, and we moved and all this kind of stuff. So it took years later that I finally published my first book. It's really strange. Have you ever heard of NaNoWriMo?
For those who've not heard of that, who are not necessarily writers, can you tell us what that
Sure.
is?
NaNoWriMo is November. It's National Novel Writing Month. And if you've ever thought about writing a book, you can start there. The goal is to write 50,000 words in the month of November. And it can be a book, but usually a book's about 70 or 80 to 100 or so. But I did that twice and I finished it each time. Then the funny thing about my first book that I published is Tunnel of Time, and it's the one that's ages like 8 and up. But it's not the first book I wrote. The first nano book I wrote was this one, which they both had different names when I first started out. But this is Arnetta and the Mirror
Love
Mirror
that
of Destiny. Yeah. So that's my second granddaughter, actually, by the way. But
Oh,
so I had it was just when I wrote Tunnel of Time, it's based on, or not based on, of course, because it's time travel. But these three children were my first three granddaughters. And I wanted to give them an exciting adventure. So Tunnel of Time is when they get on an amusement park ride, and they're supposed to stop in these automatrons, stop and tell them this is Benjamin Franklin and this is what I did and all that kind of stuff. But there was an accident in the tunnel, and they were the only ones left in the tunnel, and they're scared to death, just trying to get back out to the midway to find their parents. And they find an exit door behind one of the people, and they bum through the exit door and they land up in the 1800s. So the first people they talk with are Elias Howe and who is the singer man, and they actually got to talk to the people. And then they met George Washington Carver, Helen Keller, Martin Luther King Jr., and all this kind of stuff. So they kept going in and out of the tunnel trying to get back to the midway. So I think I gave them an adventure that they couldn't beat. But the other one started when my dad had given me this mirror one time, and that's the same mirror that's on the front of here. And I just was thinking about, what if you went into like an antique store and you picked up a mirror and you saw something happen. So in the book, she sees something happen. She's looking at the mirror, but she sees it behind her, and it didn't really happen, but it happened 3 days later.
ooh, wow.
That's what that is. So they can sort of sell little snippets of things that are going to happen, and they're not always good. So the premise is, if you could change something that happens in the future, would you? So yeah, that's sort of what that was. But I guess I just wanted to give an adventure, because my dad used to give me little adventures all the time. And
I love that. I love the concept of all those books. We have some questions coming in. I'm going to try and make sure that I catch up with it. Debbie Clark, by the way, said hello from Greenville, South Carolina.
yes.
So, but we've had a question. Nancy wants to know, are your books aimed more at girls or boys? Because, of course, you've got female characters. So would you say it's more of a girl read?
I think it could be both. They are three sisters. There's no male characters that they're really dealing with, but the people they meet, I think that even boys would enjoy reading about them too. I've had some boys that read the book that have liked it. Now the Arnetta one probably is more of a coming of age sort of thing, maybe a little bit, but it's probably more of a female type book for that one.
Of course, when it comes right down to it, the big readers really usually are more girls than the boys, but we do want our boys to keep reading too. So, yeah, it's some good thing to keep in mind. Maybe your next book need to have a male character.
Yes. Well, I have a whole lot more grandchildren now, so I have a lot more inspiration. That's for sure.
Give me 1 second now. I want you to keep talking. We've got.
Okay.
I got to find Gerhard. He's got a call coming in that he has to take.
Okay.
Well, I haven't read your books yet, Jeanie, but now I'm gonna have. I want to read them myself, but I have grandkids, a 7-year-old and an 8-year-old grandchildren, and younger ones, but that they sound like something that they would really like.
Okay, yeah. Yeah,
Yeah.
I've had some good reception. The problem is when you write children's book, and you may have noticed this too, is getting reviews from children you can't because they
No,
don't have Amazon accounts. They don't have
right.
so they have to, you know, what child that's going to be 6 to 15 that goes, "Oh, mom, would you mind going on there and writing a review?" That doesn't
I
happen.
know.
So
I know,
reviews
right?
reviews are important, but it is hard with kids' books.
Yes, definitely.
Okay, I'm back. This is, these are things that don't happen on professional podcasts and radio programs. I apologize, everybody. Gerhard and I are in the middle of doing some business stuff here, and sadly he wandered off and didn't take his phone with him. But y'all know how that works in Sheila Land. There's always something weird that's going on. We're talking. Thank you for continuing to talk. I was gone. Okay, so I think, did I just mention that Susan said these would be good books for book reports, especially your historical one. That's kind of a cool idea. Give people a. And so who else? I'm just going to scoot back here to.
Yeah, one of the characters that they met was George Washington Carver, and I chose him because when I was in, I think it was seventh grade, it could have been sixth grade, but he was the very first biography book that I did a book report on, and I thought he was pretty fascinating, so I had to add him in my book.
Very cool. Yeah, Carolyn had said that I guess she has also attended a children's literature conference at her alma mater. And she says it was so special to meet the authors and hear their personal stories. And don't you guys find that really interesting? Because you can read the books, but when you talk to the author, it makes him even more interesting because you hear about their journey, how they got into it, and it just makes the books more special. And these books sound great, Jeanie. They really do. So I mean, whether you've got children or grandchildren, these could be something that you might want to be thinking about for birthdays. Or if you're like me, I buy way ahead of time for Christmas. I have a little spot in my cupboard where all the little Christmas books or whatever get piled up. And so there's nothing wrong with, in fact, I always would start my Christmas shopping in January, because if I didn't do it throughout the year, people would just get IOUs by Christmas because I mean, they ends up spending a big chunk of money,
Right.
so I'm throwing that out there as the ladies are talking about their books. If you've got kids or grandkids, now might be the time to be thinking ahead of time for birthdays or Christmas presents. And yeah, Debbie Iskin says all the plots sound interesting and fun. They do. They really sound very cool. So we're going to leave you for just a second, Jeanie, and go on to Mary. And Mary, once upon a time, originally you were going to be a romance writer. And so what turned you in the direction? Mary, of course, has kids and grandkids. She was a very busy mother. Oh, I didn't mention what I said I was going to mention, did I, about your little hot ski babe years?
No.
So I got to tell you, Mary once, I don't remember if you posted it here on Facebook or where, but oh my gosh, there's a picture of Mary in her ski prime, and she looks like she should be on the cover of a magazine. She was hot. And oh my gosh, you just look like ski. I mean, the ski is flying in the snow.
Snow bunny.
Oh, it's a really cool picture. Should have been on a magazine. But Mary decided not to be a professional skier and instead had a passel of kids. And so did that influence you decided, well, maybe I'm going to write kids' books instead of romance? How did you end up going that way?
I was a ski instructor, so I was a professional skier. I got paid for it. So that's
my gosh.
So that's
That
kind
is
of
so cool.
many, many years ago. That being said, that's way in the past. But I'm Irish and I'm a storyteller. And I come from a long line of storytellers. So some people call it lying, but we call it storytelling. We tell tall tales. And so I've always been a storyteller. And dabbled in writing. I enjoyed writing in high school, that kind of thing. Had been told, oh, you should write a book. So, I've read a gazillion romance novels and thought that that's what I wanted to do. Never did it. And then one day my sister called me. She was the director of education at an art college. And she said, I would like for you to offer an internship to a senior. All the seniors that they're graduating, it's part of their requirement that they have to fulfill an internship. And I laughed and I said, well, what am I going to have them do for me? Wash my car? I'm a homemaker. What am I going to offer to a student? What are they going to intern doing? And she said, you're going to write a children's book, and it's an art college, so they're going to illustrate it. And so, I mean, the short version is that's what happened. I chose an intern based on some of their sketches when we FaceTimed a little bit. That Zoomed, actually. That was right during COVID.
Wow.
And so I picked a young student. She was a senior, and part of the internship was that we were going to pitch this book to a publisher. I was very naive to the whole process, thinking, well, this is just what we're going to do. And that she's actually going to be able to illustrate a children's book that I haven't even written. I don't even have an idea. I had no idea. So the end of that story is that we pitched it to a publisher. He loved it. I'm sure it's a cute story, but the illustrations were fabulous. This young girl knocked it out of the park, and we got a book deal.
That's amazing.
So the next year, another intern. So I've done that 4 times.
Wow.
Actually 5 times, and one we didn't get a book deal. We didn't get a book deal on that one. But the illustration had nothing to do with the illustrations. It had everything to do with the story, I'm sure. But yeah, so I have 4 books on children's picture books, and fabulous. If each one is illustrated by someone different, and that's how I fell into writing children's books.
I love that. I just think that, and the illustrations are really cool in your books.
No, they're fabulous.
Of course, you can't just have illustrations. You have to have the writing too. They really pair together.
Well, and with the way I do it, which is not common. So anybody that's listening that is interested in writing a children's book and having it illustrated, what I have done, what I have been able to do is completely not normal. A children's book writer typically writes a story and you submit it to a publisher, and then they assign an illustrator to it if they want to illustrate your book. So this is unheard of that. Wow. That I stumbled into this, and it just worked out for us. But this is not the norm, as I found out then with one of them. But this is so good. Well, yeah, but there's a gazillion children's book writers out there, fabulous writers, and lots of illustrators that work freelance, and some that are under contract with publishers. So don't think you can just go to an art college and grab yourself a intern and you're going to be published. Yeah.
You just don't know it, but it proves that there are many different ways to come out getting what you want to make it happen. And for yours, it was definitely a case of serendipity. I think you were maybe meant to go that way. Before we hear more about your books, I want a quick hi. We've had Susan, and who else is, and I can't read my writing. Well, I'll go back and look. Was it Barbara? Yes, Barbara, who have joined us. Thanks, you guys, for joining us. And I'm hoping that you're going to get some great ideas here in listening to these ladies and how they started their career. But tell us a little bit about your books, because they're all very different.
Oh, yeah, they're very, very different. The style of art is very different. The first one I wrote out of desperation because I didn't know what I was going to write about. And I used to tell my dog, I know too many Chihuahuas. I know too many Chihuahuas, because I had a big golden retriever, 2 little Chihuahuas. They'd be all over him. And so I used to commiserate with Beckett. So I thought, that's a cute title for a book. So all it's about is a simple little story. It's 500 plus words. And it's just Beckett and the perfect life. And all of a sudden, he's covered with Chihuahuas. And so there's always got to be a moral to the story. This is what the publisher asks. What's the moral?
That's interesting.
What are the kids going to learn, take away? And it was, I don't remember what it was. but it would, it was, you think you have a perfect life and then things change, but you can still have a good life even with the changes and, whatever. I wrote a book about idioms. That doesn't really have a story, but I kind of made up a story teaching this little girl is going through her day, and grandma keeps saying the strangest things. I'm in every one of these books, by the way. Somewhere.
Well, why not?
Yeah, in an illustration, or just grandma, the name. But grandma says strange things like the little girl says, "Grandma, will you come roller skating with me?" And grandma says, "When pigs fly." And the little girl's like, "What does that mean?" So that goes through, so at the end, there's a key that shows the kid, the reader, what an idiom is, what these all mean.
I love that. I love that.
Yeah.
So-
And this one, he's my grandson. He is now 19 years old. And we lived with them for a few months, and he was 6 years old then, and he was kind of a pill and would act out occasionally. And I would go stand behind him, and I would quietly say, I didn't embarrass him, but only he could hear me, "I know who you really are." This is as he's pelting his brother with matchbox cars and, swinging from the curtains, and "I know who you really are. This doesn't feel good. I know who you really are." So this book is called "I Know Who You Really Are."
That is darling.
I love that. Yes, Susan wanted to know, what are the titles of your books, Mary?
Yes.
So there's the Too Many Chihuahuas.
Yeah, just show us the covers like Jeannie
Too
did.
Many Chihuahuas.
Pick it up. Pick it up and show it.
Yeah, show me.
You'll see my messy kitchen.
We don't care about your messy kitchen. Mine's a mess too. Look at that. Look how cute that cover
That's one
is.
word I can't spell, so I would have to get that so I can learn how to spell it.
Isn't that cute?
Very
So when
cute.
I'm looking at it, it's backwards, but you can. It's
Yeah,
not
we can
backwards.
see it perfectly.
Yeah.
Okay,
So there's
Too
that
Many
one. Show us our other covers.
Too Many
And we're
Chihuahuas.
getting the next cover. I will say Kelly said that she has all your books, Mary. She loves them. She's read them to her grandchildren.
No, she's so sweet. So
I like
that's
this one.
I know who that's
I know
Gosh,
you
these are
really love.
darling.
I love
the
that.
See
illustrations.
my glasses?
Ah!
Oh, there you go.
And Ready, Willie, and Abel.
I
Aw.
love it.
So
That's the idioms
obviously
one,
it's a
right?
play on Ready, Willie, and Abel.
Yeah.
Abel is my grandson, and he was kind of timid when he was growing, when he was littler. And his little brother, whose name really isn't Willie, his name is Jens, but Jensen keeps telling me, "Why is my name Willie in that book?" And then that's a granddaughter, and she's always ready for everything. He's always willing to do anything. Well, together they find that if they work together, if they're prepared and they're willing, they're
great.
able to get it done. And they're on a dinosaur hunt because Abel is scared to go outside because he knows he saw a dinosaur out there.
Oh, that's so cute. I love
So
that.
did he really? Or is it maybe something else? But anyway, so
Oh, wow. Okay.
They're gorgeous.
so the books that are available on Amazon, they're not oversized like this. These
Okay.
are special copies that I obtained for book readings because you see how easy you can read it.
Oh yeah.
So Jeannie,
Totally.
wouldn't that be something if you
Yeah.
if you're doing a book reading and you can just go like that and
Yeah.
read it instead of reading it and then going like, that's a
Of course, now
challenge.
Jeannie is writing, I know, for a slightly older age group.
Right, and you don't
Yeah.
have you don't have the illustrations.
So are yours, you think, are more of, well, you could read to any age child, but
Yeah. What's your age group, would you say, Mary?
Well,
8, 5 to 8?
up to 8, yeah, because these books are at the most 600 words. So they're written very simplistic. They're very concise and vague.
Oh, I look good.
So this is
I love this one.
That's
Idiom.
darling.
Idiom.
Idiom.
Oh, cute.
Her name is Martin,
Idioms.
Eddie Martin.
They're
Her
darling.
book of
So
idiom.
cute.
That is
And
Very fun.
can you tell what that idiom is?
No, I can't. What is it?
It's a cat in the bag.
Oh, there
Who
you go.
Oh,
let
the
the
cat's out of
cat
the
out
Who
of the
bag.
let the cat out of the bag?
Very
Yeah.
cute. I love that.
So I get to collaborate with the illustrators, which is also unusual. So I actually write the story and make lots of edits and revisions as I'm, working with the illustrators. So my story that they hear inspires them, but their illustrations inspire my story, definitely.
That is awesome. Jeannie, I can't remember. Do you have some illustrations in your books? Remind me.
No. And
It's just straight,
I
because
thought
it's
about
for an
that.
older reader.
Yeah.
Yeah. Now I'm curious. Now, okay, so now you guys have both gone slightly different routes. Mary has found a small publisher, and Jeannie, I believe, are you your own publisher on your books?
No, I have a small indie publisher, so I'm
Okay,
an
so you
indie
both have
writer.
indie publishers.
Yeah, she's an
Okay.
indie. She was an indie, and said she would do my next one too. So it's, but she's just a
Awesome.
small press, sort of local to me, within the next town over. So it's good to.
I'm going to jump in just a couple things. First of all, I love what Mary had said about what she was told with the books. What's the takeaway? What are kids going to learn from this? And Jeannie, do you feel like there was takeaway in your book? I love the concept of your books. Do you feel like there was a takeaway in them?
I think in the first one I published, Tunnel of Time, I think what I wanted to do with this one is to get the readers, because I've had adults to this that I know about all those people, except for there was one person I didn't know, and everybody doesn't know all of them. But I think I wanted it to interest them to pick up another book to read about the other people.
Interesting. Okay.
With this one, a little bit different. This girl felt very, not really, sort of unloved because she had difficult living experiences, and she met this other girl that she thought she had it bad until she met another girl. But then they saw these things in the mirror that were really trying to stop from happening. That ended up happening, and not to be a spoiler, but it was something. It was a big accident for the United States a few years ago. Wasn't 9/11, but
That's good.
this might give you a hint. This book was set in 1985, and it's about something that happened in 1986.
Wow.
So they tried to stop it, and one of them even went to Washington. Well, they went to Washington and met with Ronald Reagan.
I
So
love that. That's
they.
just so
So I guess it's just to be strong in your endeavors, and just don't stop. Just keep trying. So
we all can be heroes and heroines in our own lives in whatever circumstances we're in. By the way, Debbie Clark says she's read all your books, Jeannie, and they're really good.
Yes.
So there you go. So you ladies really are very talented. And these are two women. One of the reasons I wanted to have the girls on, of course, is we haven't really talked to a lot of children's book and young adult book authors on here. And I thought that would be a really nice thing to do. But I also love how you girls just sort of went out and you carved your own niche and found what you wanted to do. And so I'm wondering if you have some words of inspiration for people out there. Kind of our focus this month really has been, this is a new year. What do you want to make happen this year? What do you want to do? And what are our goals? And do you have maybe some words of inspiration for someone who's maybe thinking, well, gosh, I really kind of would like to write a children's book. What would you have some advice for them? And I don't know if either would you, and I know that I threw you a curveball with that.
Yeah.
Who would like to go first?
Jeannie
said, that means you're going first.
Yeah. One thing I would have done with, you need to hire an editor. You need to have an editor. I had a really good one, and I should have gone back to her again, but I won the Tunnel of Time. But there's going to be little mistakes in every book, in every whatever. But I would have liked. I don't have the patience, I don't think, to wait on an agent to be because I know I've heard some of these people that that submit lots and lots of queries and get turned down. In fact, I did try that with Tunnel of Time, and I heard back from only one person out of like 10 things, and it was the month the book was coming out, and they said it wasn't a good fit, but they enjoyed reading the lots of kind of stuff, and we wish you well. But yeah, I don't know, Mary, do you have? So I decided to do the indie thing, but you have your sister was she
Well,
she
she
saw
was
something in you.
She's the one that got introduced me to the concept of using students,
Mm-hmm.
slave labor for my illustrations. But as far as advice for somebody that wants to write, will write anything, but children's books in particular, you always hear, write what you know, write in your voice.
Mm-hmm.
And most people are good with kids, particularly anybody that would be wanting to write a children's book. So you write to the kids, write for the kids. And the lessons that are in my books, they're not spelled out. It's just in the circumstances and I never realized, I had my book critiqued by a fabulous illustrator that's well renowned, and I can't remember his name right now, but he critiqued it and he said, there's no arc to your story. And I'm like, well, thank you so much, and I'll work on that. And I was so offended. Who are you? You don't know me. What's an arc? This is a children's book. He's an illustrator. You don't know what you're talking about. I was so offended. And so I called a friend who's a writer. It wasn't you. You didn't answer your phone that day, luckily. She was so kind, and she listened to me, and she said, first thing she said was, be cautious of who you invite into your journey.
Hmm.
So that was good advice. But then she talked about the advice that he was actually giving me, he didn't give me advice. It was a critique. And she said, even in this little 500-page story, it was about Beckett, the dogs. How could there be an arc? Well, there was, and she helped me find there was the challenge, and then the peak of the whatever the action or I don't even know what the words are to use. Sheila, you would know better of what words would go in an arc, and then there's a conclusion or a resolution. So there has to be that. And when she helped me. She's not a children's writer, but she helped me and gave some advice. I took her advice. I didn't use her words, the words she advised, but I took her advice. I couldn't believe the difference it made.
Yeah.
So do you understand what I'm saying about an arc, Sheila? You write. Yeah.
I want to, instead of talking about that, I want, by the way, who came in late? I can't remember. Somebody just said I'm late. I'm sorry, but we're happy you're here. I don't remember who that was. Was that? Oh, it was Anne Marie. I'm glad you're here, Anne Marie. But I wanted to circle back to the whole thing about the getting advice. That is true. You be careful. You don't tell everybody everything about what you're doing necessarily, because sometimes that can get discouraging. But I think it's very important for us as writers to be open to input. And sometimes we take it. It is hard to not take that personally, but usually it's going to make your book better. And I tell you, one of the things I try to keep in mind, because I have everything from editors to all kinds of people who are in there saying, well, you need this, or you didn't do this, or and I try to distance myself and go, this is not my baby. It was my baby, but now it's a product. This is a product. And our goal is all to make this product better. So how can we make this product better? And so when I take that step back, I find that's really helpful. And I would much rather get those critiques from friends, illustrator, editor, copy editor, agent, whoever, or my critique group, than have that come from a reviewer on Amazon or someplace who says this did blah blah, or there was no arc, or you name it, because then it really gets painful. It's out there for all the world to see. You don't have a chance to argue, but this is why I did this. And I'll tell you a funny story in regards to that. So Gerhard and I are working on a book that we sort of wrote together. It's his idea and his baby, and so I've just been kind of chiming in and doing parts here and there. But we're going to be on rewrite number 12 on this book. I said, okay, one more time, and if it doesn't fly this time, we'll just put it out ourselves. But she was saying a couple of things about that, and he's like, yeah, but I did blah blah blah, and I met blah blah blah, and she goes, Gerhard, you don't have a chance to go to the editor's office when she's reading your book and say, no, but don't you know, this is why I did this, and this is why this should be here. There's no chance. They're reading your stuff cold. And it's the same with a reader. There are many times in the past where maybe a reader has said something about it, like, oh, I just wish I could jump in and say, this is why I did this and what is wrong with you? And you don't get to do that because
Right.
you can't follow everybody around. So it's really hard. But that was a really good learning lesson for Mary because she thought about it and went, okay, wait. And then she got advice from somebody and figured out how she could make that happen. And so the end, you wound up with a better book, right?
Absolutely. Yeah. And the lesson that I have carried through with all the rest of my books, the way I can revise now compared to at the beginning, I can be ruthless. I can throw away a whole page. I couldn't have done that before. And what I've learned is, and this is really good advice for somebody that's writing, you can't be in love with your own words. You just can't be in love with this. I mean, occasionally you'll write a sentence and you're like, oh, that's really good. Like the title of Ready, Willie, and Able. That just stuck.
Darling, it's really
Loved
cute.
it, but generally you can't be in love with a sentence you wrote because you find that if you just change one word, it's so much better, or change the order of the words. Jeanie, I'm sure you have experienced that so many times where something's just not working, but it's not you because you're such a good writer. And then all of a sudden you maybe reverse some paragraphs or just a sentence and you find out like, whoa, wow. Yeah.
I was reading my story just the other night. Had a lot going on this year. So he sent it to me a long time ago, an early reader. And I said to myself after I got through reading it, so essentially he wants me to cut out like pages 11 through 125. So I thought about it and, I didn't get mad, but I was like, because I said, he's right. He's right. I need to redo this. So, yeah.
Really
Another thing that I forgot to add a while ago too is I was a member and still am a member. I just haven't been to a local writers group. And I don't know about you, Mary. Do you have? But they're all online now too. But we go in person and we do some Zoom too. But it's really nice because they'll tell you you need to have a writers group when everybody's saying that's great.
Right.
That's not any good. When you read a portion of your work, you need some criticism in there, and like you said, you can't love all those words.
No.
It's hard. I mean, it's very hard sometimes to part with some of those things you thought were so wonderful and so brilliant, and but sometimes
Mary,
it's to be done.
Sorry, I wanted to tell you, Nancy. I can't pronounce her last name. Janky.
Yeah.
It says there wasn't an arc, there was an arf. And you're too many.
Oh, that's funny. Oh, that's cute, Nancy. Oh my gosh. Well, one more thing too, if some of you are considering this, you might consider joining an organization that is designed for that. SCBWI is such a big Society of Children's Book Illustrators and Illustrators. And they're national, but they have local chapters. And that's a good thing to join if you're wanting to learn more about the writing business and about and because these books are all very specific. You have to kind of know what age am I writing for, because they shelve different ages, different places, and sell to different kids, and no. So it could get a little complicated. So it's kind of good to, if you're just starting out and going, well, I want to do this, I don't know what age group even, or I don't know what I'm doing, to maybe to join something like that, and you can find out. But so now let's talk about giveaways. You ladies, what are you going to give? What's going in the hat here for us to pick names for winners today? Show us what you got.
I will
Arnetta,
give Arnetta and Tunnel of Time.
There we go. Okay, so guys, I need you in the comments to say, hey, I'd really like Arnetta for my granddaughter, my kid, whatever, or I'd really like Tunnel of Time. And Mary, you're also going to give away 2 of your books. Would you hold up and tell the ones you're going to give away?
I'm going to give away the idiom book.
That's so cute.
This one happens to be paperback, but it's probably up to 8 years old, but it's a great read aloud book. And there's kind of a play on like Where's Waldo kind of a thing. There are things in each page. There's clues in each page that helps them figure out what the idiom means. Like, what is Grandma talking about? So that one. And then we call this Frankie's book because Frankie's my grandson. So I know who you really are. And this one's paperback. And it's probably, all my books are the same reading.
Hardcover.
You know, anybody older than 8 might have fun with the story, but the words would be, you know, very easy, I think, it depends on the reader, but anyway.
Okay.
So
be specific, guys. Be specific on what you would like, because it'll make it. I don't want to draw a name and it's one that you weren't that excited to get. So please tell me. You know, do you have an older kid, older grandkids? Would you like one of Mary's books? Would you like one of Jeannie's books? And that way I don't end up drawing a name because someone who just posted that, oh yeah, Nicole said so generous, but can't use children's books. So I don't want to, thanks for saying that, because Nicole, I don't want to draw your name. And then somebody else said, well, darn, I would really have liked it to have won that and try this author. So please be specific. And thank you, Susan. She's been specific on what she wants. And we're going to keep this, because I don't even know if we were talking about that earlier, the mail strike. I think it's over in Canada, but just save the girls postage. I am going to be drawing for U.S. residents this time around because, gosh, guys, I love our Canadian neighbors. I wish we could find a way, especially here in the Northwest. I mean, we just a few hours apart from each other. I wish we could find a way to make shipping a little bit more affordable. But do let me know, and I will be picking a winner at some point here tonight and messaging you and posting either tonight or tomorrow morning. So keep your eyes peeled. And there's an idiom, right? Oh my gosh, keep your eyes.
I have one more. Yeah, keep your eyes peeled. That would be a scary one if you were a kid. All these books are available on Amazon, but I did want to put out a word for, I have ordered from Liberty Bay, I think it is, to get one of your books.
Yeah, the Northwest.
I think any indie bookstore that you go in can order any of these books. Although they can just order them.
Yeah, you don't necessarily have to go to Amazon. It's very convenient, but you can order from your favorite indie store, have them order the book in. And where can people find you guys before I turn you loose? Where do you have websites? Are you on Facebook? Where are you if they want to chat with you?
Facebook for me is Jeanie. I think it's Jeanie.Chambers. Facebook, yeah. And it's got a picture of me in a little red shirt, so you'll see me.
Okay,
but,
so yeah. Mary, how about you? Can they find you here on Facebook? Where can they find you?
Facebook and Instagram, and it's just my name, Mary Minjares. Yeah, on either one. I wanted to say this one, if anybody is interested for being specific, if you have a child in your life who is having a problem regulating their emotions, I did a giveaway on a Facebook page for Christmas. I actually gave away 8 copies of this. It was supposed to be 4, but anyway, you know how that happened. Anyway, I got private messages from a handful of the parents who they didn't save it for Christmas, which is what I was hoping they were going to do, but that they read these books with a child in their life, this book with a child in their life. And there was several of them that they made me cry because the child that they read it with identified with Frankie so much because he's so mad at his brother, or he's embarrassed at school and he's just so humiliated at school. And it made me cry. This book, of all my books, this one really touched some kids, and that's a really
worth it all. Yeah.
Gratifying thing to hear as a writer. But so if you have a child that's in particular that's struggling with turning into a dragon when his brother's in him, so he turns into all kinds of things in this book. So.
All right, well, there you go. So I think that will do it then. I'm making notes, even looking through the comments and getting ideas here for people who are interested. So we'll be making an announcement hopefully soon. I'm going to thank you all so much it's been another really fun Sunday. And last week I messed up all my announcements. I had thought this was going to be our night with Wade Rouse. I cannot talk. Wade Rouse. AKA Viola Shipman. And I do believe that is on the schedule for this next Sunday. I'm going to check in, make sure we still have him, but that's the plan. And meanwhile, I'm going to go wash my mouth and make sure I could use it better The old joke, I just washed my mouth and I can't do a thing with it. That is so me. But hopefully that's on for next week. We're going to keep the fun stuff coming. And I hope you guys have enjoyed this all. It's been just lovely. I have enjoyed talking to these ladies so much. And keep hanging out here and tell your friends, guys. Make sure that we get good turnouts when we have these authors on so that we can encourage them in what they're doing. And we will all be talking soon. But meanwhile, have a great rest of the night, you guys. And thanks for showing up.
Thank you so much for coming, everybody.
Bye, guys.